How you doing? This is Black Shy Guy here with another podcast episode. Yes, it's the beginning of the week. I know, I'm kind of bummed too. I was enjoying my weekend, but unfortunately, we are all back to work. Yes, what a disappointment. But listen, take it easy. Take it easy. Just take a small stroll and understand that the week will soon be over like it always is. Just be safe out there because we're living in a dangerous world. And obviously, no matter what frustrates you out there in life, always know things will get better in time. This is Black Shy Guy, and as always, thank you for sitting at my table. It's beginning of the week for myself as well, like I said. And man, I'm taking it easy. I am taking it easy. We having nice weather out here. And the first day back at work since the weekend, it was all right. It was all right. Could have been better, but we've been drowned. Listen, a lot of people don't want to work. I mean, it's hard to get people in the door at my job. A lot of people just don't want to work. People come in for interviews, they show up, and then they don't return for the simple fact that the job labor board obviously has people going to job interviews to see if they could do their part to get a job. And people go to the job interviews, but since they fulfilled that obligation, they don't think that actually getting a job is part of the obligation. So they only show up for the interview and don't return at all, even when they're hired. It's crazy how this modern age is now. I remember back then people were desperate for jobs. Now it's like people just don't show up for work. I mean, you got places like McDonald's who don't really need people because now they got these robotic ATMs and everything. They still desperate for people to get hired in those places. It's just crazy. It's just this world, man. I'm telling you. Is it me or does it seem like it's just getting worse? And if you want to take it biblical, it kind of was predicted to get worse. If you want to take it biblical, I know a lot of people are not biblical. Some people are atheists, whatever the case may be. I respect your religion or whatever, but I am Christian and biblical. When it comes to the Bible, it was predicted that it is going to get worse. So I'm kind of not surprised, but it's still such a shock to me on how bad it's getting. You know what I mean? Despite the fact that I knew it was gonna get worse, I didn't know that I was gonna be alive when it starts getting this bad. You know, I thought I was gonna be long gone before the world just starts turning into the upside down. You know what I mean? It's just crazy how this world has changed since the 70s. It's just crazy, man. But like I said, man, you people out there, just be easy. You know what I mean? And no matter what seems to frustrate you, what seems to drive you insane and crazy, don't let it. I mean, life is way too short for you to allow such stupid. Some of it is not stupid. Some of it is obvious concern to be worried about, but there's always a way to overcome. You just got to figure it out. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's continue with the subject at hand. And the subject at hand is something I really want people to put their 2 cents aside. Put your judgments aside and think about what I'm about to say and think about the situation that's causing this type of career to be successful. Think about the people who are actually to blame for this career skyrocketing to the point that it's in. You have to take a breather, sit down, take a breather, and really think, am I blaming the wrong person? Think about it. I mean, don't be so quick to judge. Think about what is causing these young ladies to do what they do. And obviously, we're not going to go into the dating realm because I'm really tired of this modern dating subject or whatever the case may be, even though I will still be touching up on it. But it just seems to be getting more chaotic and chaotic as the year progresses. It's not getting any better. It's like people from both sides are getting more delusional, to be honest with you. People from both sides. And people may say, well, Shagai, what are you talking about? Men were never delusional. Men as well are becoming so delusional because they can be successful, but they choose not to be successful. They choose to be lazy. We're diving into the latest Whatever podcast, which is hosted by Brian. Am I really interested in the Whatever podcast? Not anymore, really. I mean, Brian, I've honestly, to be honest with you, Brian has bored me to death with his hosting. He has. I mean, he gets into these conversations in the beginning that seems really interesting, but as the show drags on, he gets into these stupid subjects. It gets ridiculous. It seems like the show drags on and doesn't talk about anything interesting, but he drags the show on to an hour, to 5 to 6 hours for no apparent reason, because obviously you can tell that the show has dried out, that he has to end it, and he just continues it. I don't know. It's just it gets redundant. But we're talking about a certain situation, right? Where guys love, not only, I mean, the population in general likes to blame these young ladies for having OnlyFans, correct? They like to blame these ladies who has an OnlyFans career, ladies who choose not to get a 9-to-5 job, ladies who choose to have an easier road, because they know if I just stay home, show a little leg here, show a little arm there, show a little cleavage here, I can get $2,000-$3,000 an hour, whatever the case may be, whatever they get paid. I don't know how the payment is done in OnlyFans. I haven't investigated it. I have no desire to investigate it. All I know, in general, they get paid a lot of money. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know the details at all. But a lot of people blame them for continuing this type of career, correct? But why are they successful, right? Why are they continuing to sign up brand new girls who wants to join OnlyFans and start a career? Why are girls so committed to start an OnlyFans career if it's not successful? They're signing up because it is successful. Why? Not because of their own accomplishments. They're not succeeding because they have some sort of great technique or some type of sweet way to make business work. They're succeeding because we have men of the modern age who have no self-control and choose to subscribe to these ladies. The same men who are on the show at times bashing them are the same men who are hitting them up in the DMs, who are subscribing to their OnlyFans page, and also who are asking for private videos for extra money. Yet the population of men want to blame the females on why you are starting an OnlyFans career. Are they to blame somewhat? Absolutely, because in general, it's not a good look at all for a young lady to start an OnlyFans. It shows you have no morals, you have no respect for yourself. But this will all be put to a stop if men have the power to deny the temptations of subscribing to an OnlyFans girl. If they stop, then they won't have a reason to start a career. But we have men who have no self-control. And then you got the good men out there who are looking for relationships, who don't want an OnlyFans girl for a wife whatsoever. And they get blamed for having that type of standard. We're going to continue responding to this show off a tip that somebody sent to Brian expressing his distaste for why this OnlyFans girl said that if you do not want your girl to have an OnlyFans page, or if you do not wish to date an OnlyFans girl, is because you're insecure. Can you believe that?
Oh,
Alvin
hello.
Sam donated $100.
Hey, thank you, man.
To the of girl, it's not a matter of insecurity. If you stepped out of your box, the average man and woman would find OnlyFans unacceptable.
Oh.
Men have standards because they worked hard for their freedom. Get over it.
Oh.
Men have standards. The way he worded it there for their freedom, I don't know if I would have worded it that way, but it's nothing wrong with a man having standards. I voiced this in another podcast episode that I did, so I'm not going to stay on this certain subjects. To my day ones who have heard me said it, you know what I'm talking about. To the newcomers, I'm just going to go really quick. A man having standards is not a sign of insecurity. It's a sign of security. It's a sign of the fact that you have standards. It's the fact that you're willing to walk away when the person you're with do not meet those standards. It's basically stating to that individual that you are within your frame, that you are willing to walk away from anything that does not meet your requirements. Let's continue.
I mean, you're kind of just still negating my point. If you don't want to date a girl that doesn't have OnlyFans, that's totally fine. Everybody has preferences. Preferences aren't an issue. But when you're being rude to other people, I think that you're insecure for that. And my opinion's not going to change on that.
Right there, she's stating that him being rude is basically, he's basically showing his insecurity. But is he being rude or he's just being honest? I mean, let's keep it real. Is he being rude or he's just being honest? Honesty cuts like a knife in this modern age. Nobody likes honesty. Everybody wants to live in a delusional world. That's the type of world we're living in right now. Let's continue.
A question for him. Would an OnlyFans girl date you? Just wondering.
Can I say something also? I feel like it's definitely a personal preference on if you want to date an OnlyFans girl or not. But my question to him is, what are there levels to that? Like, if it's an OnlyFans girl who does swimsuit stuff or does lingerie, or is like nudity his boundary? I'm just curious to know if it's just like strictly if she has an OnlyFans, it's a no-go, or if there's like levels to it.
That's a good question. Finally, somebody logical. If you have an OnlyFans, it's a red flag, period. To me, boundaries are set. Like me, this is my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I do believe if you're a man with standards, you should hold fast to this type of opinion. If you have an OnlyFans and that's your career and that's what you're going by in life, because we have to admit, everything has a fad. Everything will run out. Everything does have a boiling point. OnlyFans will not last forever. If that's what your career is and that's what you're depending on, and I meet you and I find out you have an OnlyFans, I do not care what type of OnlyFans it is. I don't care if you're a lingerie model, because are you officially a lingerie model by making a page and you showing your lingerie and you showing yourself coming out of the pool, whatever the case may be? Because all that's going to do, guys, listen, all that's going to do is open doors for females to try something new to see if they can get even more money. It's never going to end. Once the door's open, the door's only going to get wider. Once that opportunity is there for them, it's only going to get wider. It will only take that certain amount of money to be like, ching, ching, I'll give you this if you do this. You don't think they'll do it? They will. The majority of them will. And I'm not talking about the anomaly. I'm not talking about the one. I'm talking about the majority. The majority of females will take the opportunity to make more money. I do not want to hear that that's not a fact. It is a fact. Let's continue.
It's a good question.
Fair. Because I there are, degrees to this shit, like... So I have a question for Cheeks and Alvin. What about it, what if there's, no BG content,
Yeah.
No BG. Because, you have, a girl who's posting lingerie photos who could do OnlyFans, all the way to a girl who's, doing gangbangs and shit. There's a difference,
I mean, the women that do OnlyFans and are in lingerie or swimsuits, it's basically the same thing as a Sports Illustrated model or a Victoria's Secret model. So if you would date a Victoria's Secret model, it's pretty much one and the same. Same type of content.
I think that someone not wanting their girlfriend to have an OnlyFans is perfectly reasonable. I don't think it's a matter of insecurity. I think it's respecting their boundaries, because everybody has boundaries coming into a relationship. And to say that that's solely based on insecurity is kind of stupid, because...
I love this young lady speaking right here. She was on Brian's shows before. She names herself Never the Robot. She has a Twitch. She is basically a conservative. And she is very logical. Her way of thinking is the way the world would be saved if most of the ladies thought like her. I'm serious. Because the other ladies on this show are by far gone. They are gone. All they're thinking about is making that extra money, and they're not thinking about anything else. They're not thinking about the way the man feels. They're not thinking about who they're hurting. There's a girl on this show, because obviously I'm not going to go through the whole entire show. Like I said, the whole entire show is 6 hours. There's no way I'm going to even run my podcast for an hour for this damn show. I'm just pointing out the most crucial parts of this show. And it's the insecurities that men are put through for the fact that a lady wish to have their standards respected, but a man can't have their standards respected. It's getting to the point of annoyance here. It's getting to the point that a man with standards to a woman is inconsequential and is so disrespectful. The way Never the Robot responded to these young ladies, her being a young lady herself, was so much of a breath of fresh air in that room, because you saw how silent they got, but not silent for long, because you can't quiet ignorant people for long.
There's other factors that play into it.
I think what the comment says is he's saying the average man won't want an OnlyFans girl, but I've met a lot of average men that have really great jobs that think it's cool that I have an OnlyFans, and they even support.
And those are the idiots, and those are the supporters, and those are the ones that's making the world a place not worth being in, because those are the men. I'm going to tell you, those are the men who are to blame. These young ladies are to blame. But before you blame these young ladies, right? Because like I said, and don't get it twisted, all right? Don't twist my words. What these young ladies are doing is wrong. Absolutely, it's wrong. But at the same time, they're taking advantage of the idiots willing to throw in countless amounts of cash just to see some skin. It's repulsive, it's disgusting, and it shows a lack of control. You are not a man whatsoever. It's those men that are to blame. They are the main ones to blame, not these young ladies. the young men are to blame. The young men or old men, because there's old freaking disgusting perverbs out there as well. Look at yourself in the mirror if you are subscribed to a young lady's OnlyFans. Look yourself in the mirror. Why would you? I mean, is the desperation that strong? Yet, a lot of people want to blame these young ladies for their actions when their actions are only multiplied by the actions of the men subscribing to them. It's utterly ridiculous. It's to the point of nausea. It's disgusting. Let's continue.
And they're like, oh, like, let me subscribe, like, send me the link.
Hold
like,
up, but okay, and I'll get you
Yeah.
in here just a sec. Okay, so question for you on that though. Can we all agree that men will say anything to get laid?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so couldn't they just be like, they might not genuinely believe that, but they're just gassing you up to try to get some?
That could be a possibility, but some of them haven't slept with me.
I don't think that most men would like it though, personally. Like most
Yeah,
of the men
some,
I've met.
maybe some.
There are
but some
a
do.
minority of men who will like it. It just reflects on their values and like boundaries. Like I said, I don't think that it has anything to do with insecurity or anything like that. And like it's really hard to find a man who will respect the OnlyFans and endorse that stuff, who will stay. Like it's very like, I don't know. It's sort of just.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying about the whatever? Basically, she calls herself never the robot because she's not a robot. She's not the one who's willing to follow the agenda of the way the world wants to work today. And I do disagree with her when she says there are very little men who are willing to accept the OnlyFans girl's career. There are a lot of men who are willing to accept the OnlyFans career. You know why? Because there are a lot of men who are lacking a lot of action when it comes to sexual relationship and connection with a female. So they are willing to be simps for females like this. They are willing to degrade themselves and lower their standards just to get a taste. There are a lot of men like that. Unfortunately. Like I said, those are the men who are giving these young girls career. Those are the men, and some of them, believe it or not, some of them actually had a career, actually had a lady, but, you know, and have daughters, and they're willing to subscribe to these young ladies. Some of them have actual careers, a family, a daughter of their own, and they're willing to subscribe to this filthiness. Can you imagine that? You have a daughter, but you're willing to subscribe to these young girls' OnlyFans? What? Look yourself in the mirror. I have a daughter, and I would never ever think about subscribing to an OnlyFans. Ever. It's disgusting. Why would you want? Listen, this is another thing I do not agree with whatever podcast. I don't know if whatever podcast supports it. I don't know. I believe Brian said it before. I don't believe in whatever podcast when they say this, and I don't believe when Fresh and Fish says this. When they say we love these hoes, we'll sleep with them, but we won't be with them. Why would you want to be with a hoe? Why would you want to be with a girl that sleeps around? That's not an accomplishment. That's not a victory. You slept with someone who slept with thousands of other people. You're just another number. You think you won? Maybe she won. Maybe that's all she wanted. Why would you want to be with someone like that? It's utterly disgusting. Let's go straight to simps. When they talk about simps, let's entertain that subject.
That are hurting the planet, hurting children. So I feel like to worry really about OnlyFans girls is just so unfair.
Hold on
Of
just a
course,
sec.
fans love simps. Simps are making these talentless, no life experience, and no
I have
life
lots of
skills
talent,
having
lots of-
hose milch.
No
they
life
clamp their
experience.
axe and pay sweaty fat dudes to chat with you while they laugh. Stop contributing to the downfall of society. LLLLL.
I do agree with him right there. Are they contributing to the downfall of society? Absolutely. But the gain is too much to ignore for these young ladies. The amount of money involved in this type of action is too much to ignore. They're willing to degrade themselves for that money. They're willing to set their standards aside for that money. As well as the men, they are willing to set their standards and their morals aside just for a glimpse of a young woman they will never get to touch. Isn't that such an embarrassment? I mean, if you're a man and you can look yourself in the mirror after subscribing to OnlyFans, after, I don't know, beating off to an OnlyFans girl's profile picture, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of myself, I'm happy of the man I am, then you're disgusting. You're part of the problem. You're part of the downfall of society. You are. It's why all these ladies are succeeding in having an OnlyFans career. Because of men like you. That's why I said in the beginning of this show, put your thoughts aside. Put your judgments aside for these young ladies. Are they contributing to the downfall of society? Absolutely. But who's helping them in that success? Who's propelling them forward? Who's encouraging them to have this type of career? The men who are subscribing to them. So why are the men not blaming those men for contributing to the downfall of society? Why? Are they out? Are they not to blame? Are they not to blame? It's kind of ridiculous only to blame the females. Because if you really think about it, it's the females that are reaping the rewards. These men are not reaping anything but a couple of seconds of pleasure, of enjoyment. Even though I don't know what kind of enjoyment you get by looking at a picture, even a video. It's what that doesn't beat flesh and blood. So what enjoyment are you getting out of that? I let's continue for a couple of more minutes.
Wow. Okay, they're out for blood tonight.
I was gonna respond to
Thank
that.
you, Frankie. Go ahead.
So I'm kind of working hard so that I'm financially stable in the future. I'm taking all my OnlyFans money and trying to save and invest it because everyone's experience is different. I went to OnlyFans because I grew up very, very poor, and OnlyFans, I realized you can make money quickly. I was working like 60-hour work weeks before OnlyFans, and this was just like a lot more freedom for me and a new experience. But basically, I'm trying to work really, really hard so that my daughter wouldn't have to do OnlyFans unless she wanted to. That was like her preference.
What a perfect way to end the segment. Perfect way to end the segment. Because, of course, a girl's not going to pick a 9-to-5 job over a job she can stay home and make countless amount of cash. Why would she? Why would she? She had simps giving her money daily. Daily. Why would she go to a 9-to-5? It would be utterly ridiculous. She's succeeding already just staying home, showing skin, doing whatever she does on OnlyFans. I don't know what she does, but I find her disgusting for the simple fact that she even said that she would allow her daughter to do OnlyFans. I don't even want to continue what else she was going to say, because that alone, by her saying that, I look at her as such a disgusting person. Disgusting. But you see what she said? She's willing to do that career because the money's just too much to ignore. What I'm saying here, to end it all, ladies and gentlemen in Chi-Town, if the young men and old men stop supporting these OnlyFans with subscriptions and tips and private video sessions, then they won't have a career to go to. And the young ladies after them will not choose that career because they see that it's a failure because no men are subscribing. But it's successful because these young and old men are choosing to subscribe, are choosing to make these girls rich, are choosing for these girls to negate a 9 to 5 to choose this type of career that not only embarrasses their legacy and tarnishes it, but damage to society is worsened by acts like this. I would love to know what you think. Obviously, reach out to me on Instagram or on TikTok. You can even reach out to me on chat on Instagram. Let me know what you think. Are the females to blame or are the men? Who's more to blame? Obviously both, but who's more to blame? Let's take it there. Who's more to blame? This is Black Shy Guy. Hopefully your week is turning out to be a good one. And as always, thank you for joining me. I'm out of here. Peace!
Arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of suicidal maniac.